Having good teammates both on and off the pitch makes a team all the more stronger as it raises the quality of performance. In the world of football, the best players have always been surrounded by other scintillating teammates who have been capable of creating a team chemistry that could lead to massive successes. Aside from having a deadly attacking bunch, it's also as equally necessary to have a powerful defensive-minded crop of players to complement the forwards. Similarly, there have been some iconic trios throughout the years that have changed the definition of the beautiful game. The teamwork between these players guided their specific sides to booming levels of victory during various eras of the sport. They say 2 is company, 3 is a crowd, but in this case, 3 is a recipe for triumph. Welcome to Football Attitude's 11 greatest football trios of all time. 11. Ronaldinho, Rivaldo, and Ronaldo. Ronaldinho Gaucho, Rivaldo Ferreira, and Ronaldo Nazario, popularly known as the 3 Rs, were one of the most formidable and artistic attacking trios that Brazilian football had ever witnessed. Although they never played club football together, the trio performed in tandem at national level. The 3 Brazilians first came into the fore in the Copa America tournament in 1999. The already experienced Ronaldo and Rivaldo helped a young Ronaldinho navigate the challenges of the first team as the Trident scored 11 goals in 6 games to win the Copa. Each of the 3 superstars was outstanding in their specific positions and roles. Ronaldo was a lethal striker and finisher, while Rivaldo and Ronaldinho were skillful midfielders with outstanding vision and technique to create plenty of chances for the attackers. Besides chance creation, both Rivaldo and Ronaldinho were also dead ball specialists who could slot in the occasional free kick. In 2002, they went a step further with their performances as they helped Brazil win the World Cup. The trio scored a combined 15 goals in 7 games, with Ronaldo emerging as the tournament's top scorer with 8. They made a combined total of 269 appearances for Brazil and scored 130 goals between them. This trio definitely entertained and made football look like a walk in the park while bringing smiles to many kids, including myself, as they dribbled their way past the best defenses of the era. 10. George Best, Bobby Charlton, and Dennis Law. Over the past years, specifically during the Alex Ferguson era, Man United were equipped with some of the best attackers, with the likes of Eric Cantona, Dwight York, and Andy Cole doing their bit in the 90s, while Ruud van Nistelrooy, Cristiano Ronaldo, and Wayne Rooney holding down the 2000s. The pinnacle of the English club's attacking excellence, however, was embodied by the United Trinity, which consisted of Northern Irishman George Best, Englishman Bobby Charlton, and Scottish Dennis Law. The trio took the 1960s by storm and paved the way for Man United's domination under manager Matt Busby. Best was one of the greatest dribblers the game had seen, Law an elite goalscorer, while Charlton probably England's best ever attacking midfielder. They were the main components in an unplayable machine that lit English football for the better part of the decade, winning 2 league titles and being crowned European champions in 1968. It's fair to say they didn't win as much silverware together compared to the rest of the trios in this video. However, they did score a total of 665 goals in 1,633 matches while playing together for 4 seasons. It's also important to point out that they all won Ballon d'Ors during this period too, with Law nicking it in 1964, followed by Charlton in 66 and Best in 68. In 2010, bronze statues were erected of the Trinity outside United Stadium, Old Trafford, to commemorate their bond and friendship while immortalizing the greatness that they brought to the club. 9. Omar Sivori, John Charles, and Giampiero Bonaperti. Juventus are arguably the greatest team in the illustrious history of Italian football. The roots of the Bianconeri can be traced to the early 20th century. However, Juventus were not the superpower they are today until a certain trident of would-be legends graced the club. After Umberto Agnelli took over as chairman of the club in 1956, the industrialist had massive ambitions for Juventus, bringing in Welsh superstar John Charles from Leeds and Argentine-Italian wizard Omar Sivori from River Plate in 1957. With Charles's presence in the penalty area and Sivori's dribbling and goal-scoring proficiencies, Giampiero Bonaperti, who had been at Juve since he was 16, finally had 2 exceptional targets for his brilliant playmaking ability. The Magical Trio, as they were famously dubbed, played 4 seasons together from 1957 to 1961, winning 3 Serie A titles and 2 Coppa Italias. Each of the players was Serie A top scorer at least once during this period too. Boniperti earned a place in the Italian Hall of Fame in 2012 and is Juve's second all-time top scorer after Alessandro Del Piero surpassed him in 2006. Charles was voted Serie A's greatest foreign player in 1997, beating the likes of Maradona, Zidane, and others to the award. Sivori went on to be the first Juventus player to win the Ballon d'Or in 1961. The Bianconeri have fielded some of the most potent attacking combinations throughout the decades, but to this day still consider this particular trio as the greatest in their history. 8. Leonardo Bonucci, Andrea Bazzali, and Giorgio Chiellini. The second successive Juventus trio, this time of the defensive kind, Bonucci, Bazzali, and Chiellini marshaled the Bianconeri backline from 2011 to 2017. The three defenders became collectively known as BBC given the first letters of their surnames, with another iconic trio also known as BBC assembling in the same decade, set to feature later in this video. This Italian version, however, was the solid foundation that allowed Juve to launch the longest winning dynasty in Italian football history. Together, their defensive excellence helped the club win 6 successive Serie A titles, 3 Coppas Italia, and 3 Supercoppas Italiana. In 2017, Bonucci left to join AC Milan, which effectively ended the collaboration. Even though he returned a year later, Bazzali was already on his last legs during the 2018-19 season, with the 3 centre-backs rarely playing side by side during the campaign. He would eventually retire after the season in 2019, with the subsequent Bonucci-Chiellini axis being considered, in terms of longevity and performance, one of the most solid and complementary defensive duets. Sadly, after losing the 2022 Coppa Italia final, Chiellini announced that he would leave Juve at the end of the season, with American MLS club Los Angeles FC as his next footballing destination. 7. Johan Cruyff, Piet Kaiser, and Sjaak Zwart. A lot of what is considered modern football today has got Dutch giants Ajax to thank for revolutionizing beautiful attacking football that was birthed during the 1960s and 70s. At the center of this revolution were Johan Cruyff, Piet Kaiser, and Sjaak Zwart. Cruyff, a prolific forward and playmaker, had an exceptional relationship with the pair of wingers who were outstanding in their positions as well. Kaiser came through the ranks at Ajax as a teenager and grew into an unplayable phenomenon on the left flank, while Zwart, who amassed a total of almost 600 matches at Ajax, thrived on the right, with the trio forming one of the most complete tridents in the history of the sport. Firing on all cylinders, the torchbearers of total football won 6 Eredivisie titles and 3 consecutive European Cups/Champions League trophies in 8 seasons between 1965 to 1973. Individually, Cruyff won the Ballon d'Or 3 times, while Zwart earned the title of Mr. Ajax after representing the club for 17 years. Even though the trio never really paired up correspondingly for the national team, with Zwart retiring from international duty before 1974, Cruyff and Kaiser were inherent to the great Netherlands squads that wowed football audiences in the 1974 and 78 World Cups respectively. 6. Ruud Gullit, Marco van Basten, and Frank Rijkaard. Another legendary Dutch trio, this three's greatness illuminated in the late 80s to early 90s for Italian club AC Milan and the Netherlands national team. The arrival of Marco van Basten and Ruud Gullit at San Siro in 1987 proved instrumental in Milan winning a first Serie A title in 9 years, but the signing of Frank Rijkaard a year later in 88 propelled the Rossoneri to a different football caliber. Rijkaard was a tenacious defensive wall in central midfield, and Gullit a brilliant number 10 renowned for his playmaking and versatility. Van Basten was a spectacular striker who consistently found the back of the net. With the trio teaming up, they won a total of 12 trophies in Italy, including 3 Serie A titles, 2 back-to-back European Cups, and 2 European Super Cups from 1987 to 1993. They were also vital in Milan going on a 58-match unbeaten streak that stretched from May 1991 to March 1993. The individual greatness saw Gullit win the Ballon d'Or in 87, with Van Basten clinching it the following year in 88 and again in 89 and 1992. Even though Rijkaard never won the award, he came in third in 88 when the whole trio remarkably finished as the top 3 in the votes. In the same year, the three Dutchmen's quality was also displayed at Euro 88 when they lifted the trophy with the Netherlands after defeating the Soviets 2-0, courtesy of Van Basten and Gullit. Unfortunately, as good things must come to an end, the superb Milan trio split up in 1993, with Gullit joining Italian club Sampdoria, Rijkaard returning to Ajax, and Van Basten having already played the last game of his career due to a persistent ankle injury. In '94, Milan would go on to spunk Cruyff's Barcelona dream team 4-0 in the Champions League final, and while none of the Dutchmen took part, it was the platform they had set which had allowed the club to transform into such a position of strength. 5. Xavi Hernandez, Andres Iniesta, and Sergio Busquets. No midfield trio has frustrated the opposition and mesmerized football fans as consistently as Xavi, Iniesta, and Busquets did. To have had all three come through the Barcelona Academy, La Masia, and play together in the first team at the same time was a footballing cheat code. This trio was the beating heart of Pep Guardiola's iconic Barca side that was so dynamic and creative during the late 2000s and early 2010s. It was the driving force behind the team's attacking display which passed their way to world domination through the tiki-taka style that came to define their football. Busquets played the defensive anchor role among the three, and although he wasn't big and intimidating, he made up for it with his tactical intelligence and sense of positioning. Xavi and Iniesta were impossible to shake off the ball and were also the more creative. They could play incisive through balls that could split entire defenses with just one pass and dictated the tempo of every match they played in. Playing together from 2008 to 2015, they won a ridiculous 20 trophies, including 5 La Liga titles and 3 Champions Leagues. They also played together at international level, with the same system being adopted by Spain. At times, Spain played with 2 holding midfielders as Busquets was partnered by Xabi Alonso, but often it was the Barca midfield 3 that dominated the center of the park for La Roja as they won the World Cup in 2010 and the Euros in 2012. 4. Gareth Bale, Karim Benzema, and Cristiano Ronaldo. At the beginning of the 2010s decade, Barcelona had their hands firmly on the proceedings in La Liga, dominating the league so much so that it was looking like a one-club league, with Real only winning 1 title between 2009 and 2013. In a rather rare occurrence where 2 of the most lethal attacking tridents in football shared an exhilarating rivalry, Frenchman Benzema, Welshman Bale, and Portuguese Cristiano, popularly known as BBC, played their part in taking Real and the Spanish game to astonishing new heights. Both Cristiano and Benzema were brought to the Spanish club in 2009 to restore Real to their former glory, and the arrival of Gareth Bale in 2013 ignited one of the most exciting periods in the club's storied history. The lethal trio scored 97 goals in their first year of working together and achieved a feat that no other front three has attained in modern club football. Teaming up from 2013 to 2018, the Trident scored a combined 397 goals. They won 3 Champions League trophies consecutively between 2016 and 2018, a record in the competition, and 4 in total in a span of 4 years, with each of them scoring crucial goals in the finals. Domestically, they won La Liga once, together with 2 Copas del Rey. The Trident was eventually dismantled after CR7 left for Italian giants Juventus in the summer of 2018. While each member of the trio experienced varying degrees of success at Real Madrid, when they were able to combine their quality, the Spanish BBC were absolutely unstoppable. 3. Lionel Messi, Luis Suarez, and Neymar Jr. Playing the footballing antagonists to Real's BBC was Barcelona's very own attacking trio consisting of Argentine Messi, Uruguayan Suarez, and Brazilian Neymar, who were collectively known as MSN. It all started in the summer of 2014 when Luis Suarez came to the Catalan capital from English club Liverpool in a move worth €82.3 million to join Messi and Neymar at Barca. The South American Trident massacred defenses in their first season, topping Real Madrid's team goals in 2015 with 122 goals, which in turn led Barca to the unprecedented treble. The dangerous attacking trio broke their own football record in the following season and scored an astonishing 131 goals as the Blaugrana stormed their way to another La Liga title. In total, they won 9 trophies, including 1 Champions League and 3 Copas del Rey, playing together from 2014 to 2017, and boasted a combined total of 364 goals. The beginning of the end would start in August 2017 when Neymar left for French club PSG for a world record fee of 222 million euros, leaving Messi and Suarez in Spain. Suarez would then be ousted from the team setup 3 years later in 2020 on the pretext that he couldn't compete at the highest level anymore. In the end, one can only say that the years of MSN can be termed as once-in-a-lifetime event that will live long in the memories of football fans and enthusiasts all around the world. 2. Ferenc Puskás, Francisco Gento, and Alfredo Di Stefano. Before Bale, Benzema and Cristiano were even born, a certain legendary trio had already made its mark for Real Madrid during the late 1950s to early 60s. Real was already a 3-time European champion in 1958 when Puskás, one of the world's best ever strikers, joined Di Stefano and Gento, the pair who were the first key pieces of this attack on their arrival at the club in 1953. Lethal Argentine finisher Di Stefano was at the heart of this great trident, with Hungarian Puskás, who was arguably the most educated left-footed forward at that point in time. Last but certainly not least, Spanish winger Gento could swiftly switch between his 2 feet and was an effective assist provider. The trio would go on to form one of the most potent attacking forces in the history of the game, turning Real into the European football behemoth they are today. Playing together for 6 seasons, the 3 forwards led Los Blancos to 2 consecutive European Cups in 1959 and 1960. The 1960 final was a crowning moment for the trio as Puskás scored 4 goals, with Di Stefano bagging a hat-trick of his own to demolish German side Eintracht Frankfurt 7-3 on the night. They won a consecutive 4 La Liga titles as well, and although Di Stefano departed Real in '64, Gento and Puskás continued on, with Gento ending up as the most decorated European Cup winner after lifting a total record of 6 cups. With a combined goals tally of 445, Puskás, Gento and Di Stefano propelled Real Madrid to the titanic football status they enjoy today, and in the process solidified themselves as one of the deadliest attacking trios in history. 1. Pele, Pepe, and Coutinho. We kicked off the video with the majestic Brazilian trio, so it's only appropriate to finish off with the classic Seleção 3. In the late 50s and throughout the 60s, while Real and the rest of the other football powerhouses in Europe were busy vying for supremacy, Brazilian club Santos were also engaged in setting the South American landscape on fire through its 3 legendary figures. The almost mythic pairing of forwards Coutinho, Pepe, and the legend of football himself, Pele, made Santos one of the greatest club teams in the history of the beautiful game. Over a period of nearly 15 years, the trio scored an astonishing 1,418 goals in 1,800 appearances and are arguably the most lethal attacking trident football has ever seen. The trio was feared by everyone else on field owing to their deadly pace and finishing, as the 3 Brazilians were involved in Santos' incredible domination of South American football. Pele and his cohorts led Santasticos to a litter of trophies including 14 Brazilian Campeonatos, 2 Copas Libertadores, and 2 Intercontinental/FIFA Club World Cups. They also played together in the Brazilian squad that won the 1962 World Cup. Santos may not be the talk of the football world anymore, but the landscape of Brazilian football in the 60s was perfectly advertised by the 3 Santasticos.